So, hi everyone and welcome back to my sewing vlog, Yesterday, Today Sewing. Today it is Sunday afternoon and I'm looking towards the week ahead of commuting because I realised I have nothing to do while I'm on the train this week. I've done all of my hand sewing from my other projects. So in the few hours that I've got left of this weekend, I thought, maybe I can make myself something that I can just sew on the train, which means none of this little machine being used. So I went through my fabric stash to see what I might use, and I found this. If it's not too bright, you'll see it's a lovely white rayon fabric that I bought some time back from Lincraft when it was on sale. I've got plenty of it here. I thought, why not another slip? I keep needing lovely breathable layering under things. This would do up beautifully. So I got online, of course, to do my research, and what I discovered on Flickr this time is that a lovely lady called Jo Hedwig has uploaded an entire 1938 Sears and Roebuck's catalogue, and it is a brilliant look and snapshot of fashions for the spring of that year. And as I was flicking through it, I thought, well, I want to slip. What were they doing back then? And here's a page from it. I'll link her actual website down below so that you can find all of them. Go look. But I thought maybe I could make something like this. I was particularly drawn to, if you can see it, this middle one here. It looks like it's made out of a lovely light jacquardy fabric, probably a rayon. I think most of them say they were made of rayon. And again, what I like about it is this line that comes down under the bust to give it that little bit of shaping to it. It in actual fact reminded me a bit of a previous slip, the wrap slip that I've made. If you haven't seen that, I'll also add that link down below, or a card, or do something so that you can watch that one as well. Because I thought I might be able to adapt that pattern that I drafted to make up this one. And for the quick project I want to do now, that should be perfect. So I went back to some of the patterns that I've drafted recently. I keep them here. And here's the wrap slip that I made and based it off. And you can see it's got that similar line going on. So I think I can work from this pattern. If I wanted to be true to that particular pattern, I'd probably do a dart rather than the gathers, but in actual fact, I like the gathers on this. So I might keep the front of the slip the same, but that back will need quite a bit of work just to make it a plain, straight back kind of pattern. So I was thinking, am I going to need to completely draft it from you? But I've had a brainwave. You see, recently I made also a chemise, sort of more based on a turn of the century Edwardian type of chemise, but I used an old camisole pattern to make this one up. And really, it is pretty much what I want. I'll have to check whether the fullness is going to complement the other one. I will also have to check whether I've got the waistline marked on both fabrics, so I can check this side seam and just adjust the back so that it is the same basic length for the front, and make sure the hem is of a similar length. But I think what I can do is work from the back of one, add it to the front of the other, and hopefully I won't have too much of a Frankenstein type slip. That is the plan. if it doesn't come together, well, you know, it's only going to be worn under things. So if the cut's not quite right, you know, so be it. But I think it'll be a great project for just hand sewing. Can I get it done in a week? That I don't know. I'd like to think by next weekend it will be done. I don't know how long it's going to take me, how much I can do on a given trip, but I figure 45 minutes one way, 45 minutes the other, you know, that's going to give me a good hour and a half where I can just sit each day and get some sewing. Let's see how it goes. Hello Laurie, thank you for joining us. So join me for this week of commute sewing, and hopefully by the end of this week, what do you reckon, Laurie? Will we have a slip done? Let us find out. So there's the front skirt. I'll put the back skirt down here in a little bit, and the bodice piece. Now when I made this up, I didn't include seam allowances, and that's going to be all for the good on this, because what I can do, this is just my 2B pencil, and it means that I can just trace around this with a lead pencil. Now normally I wouldn't do this, it will leave quite a definite mark, but because I'm hand sewing and I don't think I can hand sew straight without some sort of line to follow, I think if I trace this in chalk, my chalk line's going to disappear far too quickly, whereas this lead pencil mark will remain there, and hopefully that means I'm going to get a straight seam in the right spot. As you can see, so I outline it in my lead pencil so I get a nice definite mark that will stay in. If it looks too obvious at the end, I'll probably try and erase it or just see if it does wash out, but it'll be on the inside so it won't be obvious. So I can just go around all of this in the lead pencil, cut it out. It really doesn't matter if my seam allowance is a little too short, although I think this, again, I will do a French seam. So I want to make sure I've got at least 1.5 centimetre seam allowance around there. There I've got to do a bit for gathers. So I'll aim to keep it at a fairly accurate 1.5 centimetres, but for the most part it'll be my drawn line that I am following. Should be fairly simple. Say hello Laurie, please don't chew too much of my pattern. So I have my sewing bag, I have my go card for the train, I have my sewing kit with thread, which I'll zip up someday. I've got my mask in case I need it, and last but not least, I've got everything cut out, ready to go. So I think I will leave it at that, and I will get started. I think first thing will be to stay stitch around the neckline. I'll still do that even though I'm hand stitching. So do a few of those sort of things, the gathers for the bottom of the bodice, and look, see how we go. So I will see you on the train on Monday.
Ipswich Station, mind the gap.
So, hi everyone. It is Tuesday morning, rather early. That is east over there, and well, I can't see the sun yet. Could just be because it's very cloudy. I think the sun has actually risen, but it is early. I am, as you can see, waiting for my train, and I thought I would share with you what I've done so far on my commute sewing, because yesterday was quite productive on the heading into school and back. So let me show you where I'm up to and what I'll be up to today. Hang on. So with this slip, you'll remember it's got the bodice panels which lead then to the main skirt bit. I have just sort of stay stitched these edges that could stretch because they're all on the bias. I also stay stitched this curve, oh, how easy is it to see this curve on the skirt. That plus doing the gathering stitches got me into school for that 45 minutes. On the way home then, it was stitching this on, and for that I did use a small back stitch because this will take a fair bit of strain on this stitch, on this panel here. So that was all tiny back stitching through all of this. Always takes a bit longer, but I think it is pretty reasonably neat. So now I am in the process of finishing off the edges. Oh, that's what I also did. I stitched the two bodice panels together, also with a back stitch. Now I'm finishing off all these seams. For this little one, I'm going to fell it down either side because I think that will look neatest. For this one, I'm either going to turn both of these in like this and do a mock French, which I think I have talked about before in other videos. Whether these videos come out before this one, I can't be sure. Or I might fell it all down to the bottom piece, which I think could probably look quite neat if I do it that way. So I suspect that's the way I'm going to go, but I'll see how the edge takes me after that. So if I manage to get all of that finishing off done, which I think I should manage to do, my next step will be to start the side seams. So sewing front to back, and that I will probably French seam. So here we go, day 2 of commute sewing. Yay! So hi again everyone, this would be day 3 of my commute sewing slip expedition, and as you can see, cloudy again, not quite so hot. The storm broke yesterday afternoon just after I got home, which was really lovely. But to sewing, I am now onto the side seams. Let me show you what I managed to do yesterday. Hang on. Right, so here we go. This is the front bodice section. So after day 1, I had sewn all this on. What I've had to do now is finish off this underbust seam and this seam in between. So you can see I've felled this on either side, and I've done the same now here. Now, what I discovered, this is the side I did first. As you can see, it's a little bit messy. I'm hoping after an iron it will look okay. But before I started the second time, I had the brainwave of, let me just turn it over, see if I can get this in focus for you. Here we go. See what I mean by a bit zigzaggy messy? I was just trying to turn this seam under as I went. On this one, I actually sewed, I don't know if you can see, a little gathering stitch where I was going to be turning for this felled seam, and sort of gathered it in together, and it's given me a much more even, I mean it's not perfect, but a much more even finish on this seam, and I do think it is kind of noticeable from the front. So I am going to have to decide at some stage, do I want to try and redo this seam to make it look better? I mean, I don't know, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but I'm a lazy perfectionist is the reality. And as much as it bugs me, I keep telling myself this is just a slip. Nobody is going to see it except a few people on this video and myself and my husband. So, you know, it's probably not a big deal, but it's kind of bugging me. So anyway, that is something I can redo after I finish this if it is still bugging me when I try it on. So that's what I'm telling myself. So anyway, I got that done on the way into work yesterday. On the way back then, it was time for side seams. So let me show you what I did there. So here's the side seam. What I have done is I have sewn it wrong sides together because I'm doing a French seam on this. So wrong sides together, and you can possibly, if it focuses for me, just notice that I have done a simple little, well, it's actually a running back stitch. I was just going to do a running stitch, and then I thought that little back stitch that you do every four or so stitches just gives it a bit more holding power if the thread breaks or whatever. But this part of the French seam won't actually take the strain, it'll be the next one. So after I've done that little running back stitch about 5 mils from the edge of the fabric, I then turned it right sides together, and if I can find it, okay, this is where I'm up to. And so then I sew the actual seam, and this I have done with a back stitch because this will have to take a bit of strain because you just pull this on. I don't want that stitching to come apart too easily. So there you go, you can kind of see that. I'm probably about a third of the way up on this. So I'm hoping I'll get this seam done on the way into school, and I might get it all done tonight. I'll see how I go. So there you go, that is 2 days worth of commute sewing. I reckon in 2 more days I'll have all the seams done and I'll be ready to start the straps. Can I get this done in a week? Probably not. Probably not. I think I'll be finishing this off next week, but we shall see how we go. Hi again, it's Thursday morning, which means it's day 4 of the commute sewing, and as you can see, sun is out. Hang on. Well, what a difference it makes with the sun out, hey? So this is day 4 of commute sewing. I am well on my way and I'm glowing from the walk. That's all right. So about to start the trip into work. It's nice and early yet again. Yesterday I managed to get pretty much most of the side seams done. I've got maybe 30 centimetres left of the one side, and then it's a matter of top and straps. So let me quickly show you what I've done. Quite happy with this back stitching that I've been doing. It's actually neater and more regular than I usually manage to do, and I'm keeping it quite small to make it quite strong. So I have gotten up to about there. For this side I actually remembered to trim a lot of the edges of this, so there is a lot less sort of little threads sticking out. I will still have to go through and trim them afterwards because they just keep coming out even though I've cut them. I don't know how that happens, but there we go, that's rayon for you. So I am just about done there. This morning I cut myself my 2 straps so I can work on them. I will just do a running back stitch on those and then turn them inside out. That shouldn't take too long. And the other thing I could work on then after I finish that side seam is to turn the tops. I'll probably do sort of a rolled hem kind of arrangement on that. So I think that will be enough to keep me busy probably today and tomorrow for the weekend. Then I can try it on, adjust the length of the straps, get those on, see how long the hem is, whether I want to add a bit of a flounce to the bottom. I probably won't do sort of a gathered flounce, but I might, if I want it a bit longer, do a sort of a flare at the bottom of some description. I don't know, I'll see how it goes. And if nothing else, I might be able to hem it on Monday. We'll see. Meanwhile, I think it is going to be a hot day when it's this hot and sunny at 6 o'clock in the morning. Dread to think what the rest is going to be like. But hey, summer is coming. Anyway, here we go. So hi once more to my commute sewing expedition. It is Friday morning. It is quite sunny. It's going to be warm again, but you didn't come for a weather update, did you? I am probably on my last day of this commute sewing journey thing. I will show you what I managed to get through yesterday. I was quite impressed with where I'm up to. So let's have a look. Yesterday's job was to finish off around the edges of the bodice here. I just did that with a simple rolled hem all the way around, not too hard. Then I sewed these straps. Those were sewn with a running back stitch because I don't anticipate they'll get a huge amount of strain on that seam. Turned it inside out, sewed it onto the front. Then last night when I got home I could try it on. I've checked the length of these straps now, so I will have a little bit to cut off, but that's all right, I can sew that down. And then I managed to check the length of the hem and I am happy with it. This will be a good length for the sort of 30s 40s styles dress that I plan to wear this slip with. So today it is just putting on those straps and hemming, which should be a fairly quick job, I hope. So my plan is by the time I get home tonight, it will be ready for a really, really good iron. I haven't ironed it through any of the seams and work I've done here, which probably was not helpful, but you know, you don't carry an iron when you're on the train. So, and of course with all the hand stitching, the rayon does get rather wrinkly, so we'll give it a good iron and see how it looks. Once I've done that, then I'm ready to get on with my 1930s dress. And I will wear this. But yay! And so after all that hand sewing, all that time on the train, here is the finished slip. I'm really happy with how it came out. My hand sewing I don't think is ever going to be perfect, but I learned a lot through doing this. The white rayon is a bit unforgiving. You see every stitch in it, but I think it's come out well, and it's going to be such a useful addition to my yesterday today wardrobe. So there we go. Thank you for joining me for my 1938 slip project, and join me either here or on the train for more exciting sewing adventures. Thanks for watching, and see you really soon. Bye for now.